Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. I am Stylosa and I'm joined by the glorious...
One amongst many. Hello, yes, it always gives me whiplash. So, for those of you who don't know, like, Star and I generally chat a bit before we record these, and then he just launches into the intro, and I just... it's like a roller coaster going from, like, 1 to 60. Good lord. Hello, yes, welcome, ladies and gents. We're here to talk to you about some delightful pro players and the Overwatch League in general. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it should be. So Blizzard have asked us who are the best players in each team. So what we're going to do is, well, we're going to put forward the players we think are the best in each team. But obviously, it's a little bit subjective, but we're going to highlight these players, give you a little bit of their backstory, a bit of their history, just so you've got kind of a narrative for these players and you've got people to kind of look out for. Maybe if you're like a DPS player, you might want to look at somebody like Prophet, for example. If you're a tank player, we can get onto heroes like that or players like that. So let's get stuck into this, Josh. Let's go. Give me the first one. Let's do it.
So yeah, let's get started with the Seoul Dynasty, right? Like, this is a team that it's Seoul's poster child, right? This is like Korea's got the best players. They should have all the best Korean players, and they've had a bit of a rough time. But the player that I wanted to highlight, which it's kind of a difficult one because they've had like so many good players, but they've had kind of rough seasons. I want to highlight Toby though, because I also want to highlight a bunch of different styles of players. And in terms of support players, Toby is definitely up there. He's been so consistent throughout. He's basically known as like the boop god. And he's an incredible Lucio player. He can just like come out of nowhere and wipe out teams. Like, teams literally started becoming afraid of playing against Seoul on Iconvold. It literally became like a meme. So last night there was the sort of playoffs first round, and Seoul played, and they literally got to Iconvold. And the big question was, what's going to happen on Iconvold Bridge? And apparently the Titans' answer to that was just don't let the map get that far. Spoilers. Just don't let them get to the bridge, and you don't have to worry about Toby. But he's like a breathtaking Lucio, and if you want to learn how to play Lucio really well, I really recommend just like firing up the Overwatch League viewer and just looking at Toby and just like watching Toby, watching how he moves, watching what he does, because he's not crazy, right? Because there's some crazy Lucios out there, and
yeah,
you
he's
don't
well
want to be that
balanced,
crazy
isn't
Lucio.
He? Yeah. I think he probably is the best Lucio. I think he is. I think he's the best Lucio in the league. You're not going to get crazy over aggression with him. He's kind of dependable. You get results off him all the time. It's like on Ilios Well, he's always ridiculously good. But like you said, he suffered because the meta wasn't exactly friendly to Lucio for quite a while. So it was a bit unlucky. There is another player on this roster, though, and it's Fletter. And Fletter has been absolutely popping off in the playoffs. Unreal. Some of his McCree plays have been insane. Like against Nero, he deleted him when I think he like 4-tapped him when he was nano boosted.
Yeah.
It's just it's insane. It's actually insane. But like you said, this roster's pretty strong. Toby, I agree. I think Toby is definitely the one to look out for on this roster. But you've got Fletter, who's coming forward with some insane DPS plays. But then you always look at Rouge Hong, don't you? It's like the old man of the Overwatch League. And you always look at this guy, and you're going to get a top-tier Ana from him.
If he is allowed to play Ana, it's like
That's
the big question, right? Because the current meta, the way it's going with all the barriers and stuff, Ana's being a little less popular. She does have moments, like if you can get a great grenade in and stuff, but the issue I have with Ryu Jae-hong is he's good, but his performances aren't always there. He's so important, I think, to the leadership of that team, that he's so focused on like shot calling and managing the team. And this is stuff that we, as plebs, we don't get to see that. We don't get to know how important he is on that, besides what we hear from players sometimes. And because he's so big on that side, I think his play suffers a little bit. It's like very difficult to lead and play well at the same time. But like Ryu Jae-hong, yeah, he's always going to be there. He's always going to be good. It's just a matter of like, how impactful is he in the game and how impactful is he in the voice comms? And we don't get to see that side of things. So it's kind of hard to go, oh yeah, no, Ryu Jae-hong's really going to deliver. Because I used to think that, right? I was an Ana main for like seasons and seasons and seasons, and I got burned. And so now I'm like, yeah, Toby, hey, Toby, you're the man, Toby. So, yeah, I just feel spurned, I suppose, by Ryu Jae-hong.
All right, let's move on to Spitfire. So, Spitfire have got a very, very special player. This player was the MVP of the Grand Finals last year. Of course, won the Overwatch League last year because all the London Spitfire players did. Because guess what? They won the league. And if they win it again, it'd be amazing. It's Prophet. It is absolutely Prophet. This guy is just... There is an argument that he's actually the best player in the league.
It's crazy. Like, he's not only is he like insanely good mechanically in terms of like, oh well, yeah, if you're just like talking about like best tracers in the league, you're going to be mentioning Prophet here and there. But he also just has these weird like super high peaks where he just appears and just destroys everyone. He just goes Super Saiyan. And there's the clip that came out of Hanamura.
Oh, this was...
I was so joyous. I was so joyous to see him like swap to that tracer, and he just came out and he like one clip to Farah, 2 clip to Mercy, and then just annihilated an Ana from like mid-range in almost a single clip, and you're like watching that, and you've tried to do this on Tracy if you've played her at all. It's so difficult to do, and you watch his movement, his evasiveness, it's just breathtaking to watch. It's the kind of play that makes you go, man, I want to go play Overwatch League. Like, not an Overwatch League, I want to go play Overwatch.
I want to just play Overwatch, yeah, I get that. I mean, his list of achievements is ridiculous. I mean, he's got like, it's just crazy. It's just mental. He's probably one of the most like decorated players there is as well. But an even crazier thing with this guy is if you look at his skill ratings throughout the season, they're just ridiculous. I mean, he this is a player that like consistently gets close to 4.7k every single season of competitive. And obviously, these pro players play at like a level above competitive. But to be able to do that is just insane. He is just... It's like we're waxing lyrical about this player. He is absolutely insane. Not to do any, disservice to the rest of the London Spitfire roster. They do have insane players in a lot of roles. But Prophet is something special. You definitely want to check him out, guys. It's crazy.
It's
right,
weird.
Let's move on. Okay,
Oh,
Josh, you got more to say, son. You got more.
Well,
Give it me,
it's
son, if
weird.
you got more.
It's weird to say, like, to highlight Prophet when you got Birdring right there, right? And Birdring,
I know, yeah, it's
like
mad.
is really bipolar. He's like incredible and then he's not, and he's incredible and then he's not. The thing with Prophet is he's like consistently incredible,
Every game, bang, bang, bang,
and then
yeah.
he peaks even higher, and it's just like, what the hell is this guy? And that just is why Prophet is like the guy we're talking about. And I'll just say it as well. Gesture's awesome. He's incredible. He's an amazing tank player. If you want to learn tanks, watch Gesture, especially his Sigma. It's big brain. Go watch that.
Awesome. All right, Atlanta Reign, let's go.
Very popular team. I don't know about
yeah.
you with Atlanta. I like Atlanta Reign as a team, but like none of their players like hugely jump out at me.
Do you know what they've done to me? They have become my Philadelphia Fusion of this season. That's what's happened with these guys.
Yeah.
Because last season I supported Philly because it was almost like you didn't really know what you were going to get.
This from Mr. London Spitfire. Those are dangerous
as well. On the side. It's my British connection, my players. But this is like, these guys kind of replace them because you're going to see something exciting when you watch this team.
Well, they also have Funny Astro now as well, so there you go. You've got the British connection back. Like, it's creeping back in.
Ultra-aggressive Lucio.
Yeah, the player I wanted to highlight was, this is again more of a personal thing for me, I suppose, which is Erster. Because way back when I cast Chinese Contenders, right, I was part of the English broadcast team with Broadcast GG for Chinese Contenders, and in that broadcast, you have meetings, right, and we call them story meetings, where you go and you figure out, like, oh, who's the players we're talking about, what's the stories of the teams, and Erster was like one of those names that just kept coming up. China at the time was a region of Genji mains. Like, they just had the best Genjis in the world, and Erster just stood head and shoulders above them, even. He is consistently just this incredible DPS player, pulls out just massive plays, routinely, like, gets, quadra or penta kills, basically, well, quintuple kills, to use the Overwatch terminology. I'm locked into my old-fashioned...
Quake, that lad.
Yeah. But yeah, he kind of got locked into the Brig Jail position for a good while, where he was kind of, stuck on Brigitte, where you can't really shine super much. But as it is now, we're like pushing towards a sort of very aggressive meta with like Reaper and Doomfist coming in, and especially his Doomfist, definitely something to watch. And like if it pops up on that side thing with like the league picks, and you're thinking, oh well, who's going to get the most kills out of the DPS? Erster is never going to be a bad shout. He's never ever going to be a bad shout. Yeah,
no, I agree with that. I think FRD is one to watch as well. I do enjoy watching him play, like a few tank players as well. This roster, it's just I just like watching this team. Like, I can't. This is like, obviously I'm supporting Spitfire and I want to see where Spitfire go in the playoffs. But this is the other team that I'm watching to see what they can do, because it's almost like they can do anything. You just don't know what you're going to get. It's really cool to watch these guys. So yeah, I agree with what you said, Josh. Let's move on to the LA Gladiators. Now these have got quite a few players, and these are again. Actually, they're playing quite well in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, Gladiators for me, like, I think for you, what Atlanta Reign's become, Gladiators have kind of become for me. Like, they are the team that I really want to do well, do well, outside of probably, I've got to root for Spitfire at the moment. I just kind of have to, because Fusion got knocked out, and I was a Fusion fan for a good while. But Gladiators, they're doing it, right? They're actually, like, making it happen. They had a really good round in the playoffs last night. This wasn't recently, like, when I was sort of thinking about this video, and, like, I'm thinking ahead of time, like, who am I going to talk about? I was going to talk a lot about Void, who has, like, this incredible diva, routinely just, like, pulls his team out of the fire. You get these team fights where you're losing the team fight and it's like, oh, it's going wrong, and then like a diva bomb comes in and kills 3 people, and you go, oh man, they got really lucky. And then when it keeps happening, it stops being lucky. It's like he knows what he's doing with this. He's getting results, and he's like pulling his team out of the fire. And then he played Sigma last night, and it wasn't great. it really wasn't great. So it's kind of difficult to like recommend Void as like, oh yeah, you got to watch this player. But who was great last night and who has been pretty great throughout was Surefour. He literally like played the best Reaper in the league last night, and he's routinely been one of the best Reapers in the league. Reaper is one of those heroes where if you go in and you death boss him and you get stunned, you look really silly. Like, I even do a thing on my stream where like I play a wacky tuba behind it when Reaper messes up, and it's hilarious and it's brilliant. But Surefour just made it look easy. Like, he was just teleporting in and he just got kills after kills after kills with these death blossoms. And that's really difficult to do in a pro meta where you got like Sigma who can stun you, you've got 2 barriers, you've got Lucio boops, you've got all this stuff that's gonna stop you and just kill you. And he's just teleporting to the backline, getting kills. He's getting so much value off of this hero. He was doing way more damage than any other Reaper in the league. He is incredible on that Reaper. And he's also good on the Hanzo. He's good on the Widowmaker. He's good on all these other heroes.
That's the thing, yeah. That's what I want to say. Like, he's super flexible. The Reaper point, though, is really interesting. There was a video from Sideshow, obviously one of the analysts from Overwatch League, and he was showing you the interaction between Reaper and Doomfist, and the way that teams are engaging with the Doomfist is trying to counter the other Doomfist, and then you've got the Reaper, like clockwork, is essentially teleporting into the back line, trying to wipe somebody out and get back out again. It's really cool to watch. But Surefour, definitely, his Reaper play is crazy. I mean, yeah, you're looking at Surefour on this team. I mean, he's like the poster boy of the team as well. I mean, where do you think this team's going to go in the playoffs? Like, they could do quite well, this team. I know we've kind of covered this before, but I think it's interesting because, again, this team, it's like Atlanta. You don't really know. Like, anything could happen. Like, it's super cool. It's
weird because they can kind of play teams close, and what they showed last night as well was they played this very aggressive style for this. Like, Raw on Orisa was just running at people. Orisas don't run at people, but he was doing that. He was just, like, charging people down. So they seem to have, like, a unique take on the meta. The issue is now they've kind of shown their hand. So who knows what's going to happen next? And also their next opponent is the Vancouver Titans. So good luck. You're going to need it. They would only get knocked into the lower bracket at least. So, you know, it's not over for them yet. I will also give a shout out to Hydration, who played a fantastic Doomfist, but then he also flexed onto Sigma last night. So they he packed up all his stuff and then literally moved 2 seats over. And then he's played a really good Sigma. So again, they have this depth, and you don't quite know what they're going to bring out. They could do a number of different things. They've got all these good players, and when you do think of Doomfist as well, you think Hydration. It's worth just highlighting. He was the guy who pioneered that hero in Overwatch League. So
yeah, definitely
great team.
Yeah, they are cool. All right, so Hanzo Spark. Let's move on to the boys in pink, as we like to call them.
Oh. It's a beautiful color. It's a beautiful shade of pink as well. I do love it. And also, my trivia on Hanzo Spark is that they were trying to be called the Railgun, but that got turned down.
Yes, they were. Yeah, that was really unlucky as well. That was
too violent. Hanzo Railgun it's a really good name. I really like it. I just wish they had it. Anyway, for me, again, the Chinese contenders bias has to come out. It's got to be Guxue. He is, and I'm going to just call him Guxue as well, because
this is the thing. I think he's Guxue. I'm sure I can call him Guxue. I don't know. It's the tank player, Guxue.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to pronounce Chinese names. It's
when
tough,
it's X's and stuff, it's like
Guxue is I know. Everyone who speaks Chinese is just cringed. It's terrible. Again, when we were doing these Chinese contenders casts, we were doing these story meetings, and tanking in China at that time was, I'm just going to say, it was not good. It was not in a good place. And this was in GOAT's meta, but China just kind of ignored it, and they were just playing this high aggro dive style, because that's what they liked playing. They just didn't like Brig, I think. They just didn't play her at all. And the tanks were generally just kind of there, except for Guxue. He was just so routinely, he knew the limits of the hero. He knew how to get massive amounts of value out of Winston. And so when the World Cup rolled around, and China started thwomping people with this incredible Winston player, everyone who'd done the Chinese scene and seen the Chinese scene were just going, we know.
He's like a carry main tank. That's his special power, isn't it?
Yeah, he's incredible. And it's also he didn't have that issue that sometimes main tanks have, where they will be really good at Winston, but they'll be terrible at Reinhardt. Or they'll be really good at Reinhardt, but terrible at Winston. He could sort of flip between both of them. The question now is, how good is his Orisa? Because that's kind of where he's being put. So it's, again, one of those difficult situations where you've got a really, really good player, and the meta's swung away from you're unlikely to see carry coming out of the Orisa role. It's just not a role, not a hero that you can carry off. super easily.
Yeah, it's kind of like you need the coordination there, don't you, with the Hulk combos? I mean, you can do some really insane stuff with Orisa. Going back to Spitfire, Gesture and Fury are quite good with that. But yeah, it's difficult. It's just much more difficult to carry on Orisa. A lot of Orisa players just spamming the other Orisa barrier. Not very exciting. It's not like he's getting into crazy positions. He's not getting mad flanks. He's not, initiating engagements, because you don't really do that with Orisa, do you? You kind of just bunker down and like, hey, I've got my Hulk ready, guys. Let's do a combo. Yeah, so it's a bit of a shame, isn't it? For him, anyway. This team, I remember this team when it like sort of, everyone expected them to be massively explosive and just be like ultra aggressive all of the time, and they're just going to come out and smash teams. It never really kind of worked like that. They do show flashes of it though. So I don't know, like looking at the team as a whole, as to where they're going to end up in the playoffs. I mean, I guess we covered this in a previous video, so I don't really want to spend too much time talking about where I think the team's going to end up. And more focus on the individual
tough to
players.
See
but
the Spark going like super far.
I mean,
like
Godspeed's pretty good though.
Godspeed's good, Adora's good,
the
but then like good going up against Prophet and Birdering.
Yeah, they're not in the same league.
Going up against this is where like good stops being good enough, right? This is where great has to really come into it, and that's sort of the players that we're trying to highlight are the ones that have that stab at greatness. Sometimes the meta might swing away from them, which is unfortunate, but yeah, like
that's Overwatch.
One to watch for the future. Like just keep him in mind when next season rolls around, or like who knows, he might find something with Orisa. Like he did it with Winston. He surprised everyone with Winston when everyone thought Reinhardt was the bee's knees. Maybe he will find something with Orisa.
Maybe. All right, let's move on to the Shock. All right, the Shock have got Sinatra, haven't they? Who's been the newly crowned league MVP. So congratulations, Mr. Sinatra.
That's clapping. That's clapping, by the way, just in case anyone had any
no.
doubts. Yeah, like the Shock are a difficult team to like go, yeah, we got to like pick one of these players because they have a lot of really good players. But then they kind of made it easy for us because we're not going to not talk about the Overwatch League MVP, right?
You can't
kind of a bit of a
yeah,
weird
no, I don't
omission.
think he's that good.
Yeah, no,
Let's
he's
talk
terrible.
about Smurf instead.
Yeah. No, Sinatra, like when he first got signed up, he was like the first really big signing of the Overwatch League. I mean, I imagine you even made videos on this, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Where he got signed for like $150,000 before he was even of age to play in the Overwatch League. And it was like the biggest news. He was like this big star player. And I was never that hot on him when he first rolled into the scene. It was like he had a lot of hype behind him, but it was never that level of like, oh my god, it's like Prophet. He's carrying games, he's destroying people. Very famously at the World Cup, like Mikey A beat him, and I like Mikey A. I love Mikey A. I love the lad. He's a great lad, but he's not like one of the best tracers in the world. He's good, but he's not the best. And so Sinatra was always kind of like, he's a bit shaky. He's not as great as perhaps he thinks he is. But then I think this is where the San Francisco Shock really helped him, because it's like it's a try-hard team. Like it's got a reputation where they take every game super seriously. They grind and grind and grind. They don't muck about. They don't mess around when they're playing. And that discipline, I think, has just elevated him, and it's made him not only consistently good but consistently great. And now that he has that discipline,
he's the best Zarya as well, by far the best Zarya in the league, by far. And remember, it was GOATs, guys, for literally almost all of the season. He was just insane. This is the thing, like the 150k. I remember making memes about this back in the World Cup, where it's like, oh yeah, look at this. The lads who were out drinking last night beat the guy with 150k salary and all of this stuff. But it's not as simple as that. Like I think with Sinatra, I think legitimately it was just a case of he needed to develop a bit more. He needed to get a little bit more sure of himself. The raw skill was always there, and now this season is actually gone ahead and done that. So it'll be a shame if we don't see Shock in the final, because it would be nice to see him and see how he performs on that massive stage. Now these guys have had they've played in the Blizzard Arena, which isn't that big, by the way, guys, but still it's a live audience. But they've had the chance to play at the home stands as well, so that would have given them a bit more experience with larger crowds. So I think he's insane. But when you look at this entire roster, it's like, where'd you go? Like Super, Choyobin, like what? Nevix. I hate Nevix because Nevix used to destroy my ranked games back in like season 4 and 5.
Yeah.
It was horrible. If he was on the other team, you just and the thing with him is he's not just a tank player. He plays everything.
Yeah, like one of the best arguments against Rollock was that it would just ruin Nevix's career. Like the guy has played. I think he's played. He's played professionally on like every single role, He's actually like that mental. He's like the definition of flexibility, and I think he's, unfortunately for him, he's just going to be like put on a bench forever. He's just like the ultimate substitute. But this isn't a game like, unless someone goes out with a wrist injury midway through the finals and Nevix like rocks up, it's unlikely to ever see the light of day. But then you've also got like strikers on this team. Like one of the best trainers in the world, and also has become apparently he's become one of the best widowmakers as well. Like he's actually been really grinding that out, shoring up a weakness of his. Rascal, incredibly flexible, incredibly versatile player, very intelligent player, incredible Baptiste as well. He's got in his back pocket, but also like brilliant May, can bring out a number of different heroes. Choi Hobin, one of the best off tanks in the league. Like it's an insane roster. It's an insane roster.
It's insane. It's insane. There you go, guys. Watch the whole team, basically.
Watch the San Francisco shot. That's our advice.
Just watch them. Right, NYXL. Let's get stuck into these guys.
Oh no. See, NYXL. It's. I hope that we're not talking about the shop next season like we're talking about the NYXL now, because they're a hard team to talk about because they've had like such a rough season overall. Like they're good. They're really, really good. They were okay in GOATs, and then they've had a rough time adapting to the new meta. I do want to highlight, and I think when you think of NYXL, you think of 2 names, or maybe 3 names pop up in your head, which is Sabiolbi, because he's an incredible Tracer player, but unfortunately he hasn't had really a chance to shine this season. You think Pine, because it's Pine, and he was the definition of a highlight reel player, but unfortunately now he's the definition of a bench warmer. And Jonak, right? Yeah. And it's got to be Jonak, because even in a meta where supports, especially the one we're moving towards, where it's Moira Lucio more, we do still see Ana Baptiste occasionally, he's still a threat. He's still 100% a threat, and he's the only support in the league. We literally had a thing called J. Jonak derangement syndrome, where support players in Overwatch League last season were going, I can play like Jonak. And they tried to play like Jonak, and they died, and they fed their brains out, and it was losing teams games, and coaches literally called it J. Jonak derangement syndrome, because they were just you can't play like him. You cannot do it. It's something that is completely unique to NYXL. It's something wholly unique to this player. And it is a really incredible thing to see. He has just this insane awareness to be able to get so many kills and so much value out of the support role that it gives NYXL this extra edge. And so if you see him on Ana, if you see him on Zenyatta, unlikely, but if it does happen, really keep an eye on that, because he is the sort of guy. I remember there was one team fight in the GOATS meta where they were losing on Hanamura, and there's 4 people on the point. Jonak rolls out a spawn and just kills all 4 of them, because he's just, that's what he does. He cleans up. He is the definition of a murder Zen, and I love it because I'm a Zenyatta player. You want to be this guy.
You do want to be. And this guy's got a bit of an interesting path to NYXL, where he just came from the ladder. He didn't actually come from a team or anything. He just was I'm really good at this game. He got noticed, and then he was in Overwatch League, and then he was the MVP for season 1, undisputed MVP. You could probably say the same about Sinatra this year as well. Just an incredible player. But as you say, the meta isn't exactly very Zen focused at the moment, so you're not really going to get to see this player play the hero you want to play, which is another issue I think Overwatch battles with, where you want to see these plays. It's like Sabiolbi, right? You want to see him on Tracer, but you don't really get that chance because, well, Tracer's not that good right now, and it is a massive shame. But I'm torn here because Spitfire are playing NYXL, and I want Spitfire to demolish NYXL, but if that happens, I'm going to feel really, really sad for NYXL, because again, it is this failure to push forward when they actually need to do it. When they need the win, they just crumble. So something's got to give. I don't know, man. But I'd agree with you. Jonak is definitely the one you would watch in that team, 100%. All right, let's move on to the Vancouver Titans. Now, yes.
where to begin?
Oh God, where do we begin here? So I'll just start reading names off. Watch all the players, guys. Holy hell.
This is a ridiculous team. I mean, they came into the Overwatch League and they literally went undefeated for something 19 games.
19 games? I think it was 19, yeah.
It was incredible. Yeah, it's just oh yeah, by the way, we just came out of Apex and now we've just smashed the entire Overwatch League. Hi guys, we're here. Hello. They are insane.
And by the way,
games.
Runaway is still smashing contenders. It's crazy. That's mental.
They have a legacy behind. They've left a legacy behind them, just taking over Korea still. It's ridiculous. But if we're gonna highlight one player, I mean, he just won newcomer of the year. It's going to be Haxal. I remember when I first saw Haxal, and I think it was against E United, or maybe they were still reunited back then, playing in Apex, and it was that time period where the West was still the best in Overwatch, and they were just sort of going over to the newly formed Korean League, and you had teams like Envy and E United.
remember.
And I just remember Haksal just like
Holy.
cut them to ribbons. His name means massacre in Korean.
Good lord, I didn't know that.
And
massacre.
It's accurate because he just
It
like
is.
every time he had a Dragon Blade, it was just like 6 kills. It was insane. And like one of the sort of the semi-coaches, sort of team coordinator, I think his official title is, Harsha, for the Vancouver Titans, literally said perhaps the most mechanically gifted player in the world, and he has a game sense to match. And I completely agree with that analysis. He is mechanically insane, and he doesn't have like the issues that some of these mechanically insane players have, where they like lack in discipline or they lack in like game sense or they try and overplay. He is just consistently a mad lad. Like, it's just, if you want to watch an exciting player, watch Haksal, and he has the opportunity now to do it because, hey, Doomfist is in meta. If one hero is going to take over a game, it's Doomfist.
Yeah. He's crazed. I don't even where do you...
I mean, when he was playing Brig, he was literally getting the highest healing and highest damage in the league.
He was the best Brig, yeah.
That might have something to do with, like, I will say that this might have something to do with also the Vancouver Titans just stomping people. So as Brig, he will get good stats. That might inflate it slightly. But even then, it's just like, you're one of the best DPS players in the world playing Brig, and you're getting the best results on Brig in the world. That speaks pretty well for you. It's pretty good. And the Vancouver Titans, like, pick a player.
Yeah, you just pick a player, guys. Like, the thing with these top teams, with your Shark and your Titans, you can basically just pick pick whatever player you want and spec that guy in the replay tool, and you will be given a lesson in how to play whatever hero they're playing. They are just frankly insane. Well,
except
guys,
maybe
that covers. Except for who?
Bumper. Don't learn from Bumper.
If you want to be a suicidal main tank, yeah, watch Bumper. Because in fact, guys, if you watch the game. The last game that Titans played, you'll notice that they played Tizzy instead of Bumper, and that's because, well, Tizzy,
he's stable. He's not insane.
He's sort of like, he plays a tank. He doesn't just go in and just try and kill everyone. He looks after his team. Yeah.
He's boring.
But Bumper's still a bit he's a mad lad. If anybody's a mad lad on that team, it's
Bumper.
him. Good God. Some of the plays he would make, they're just... It's like, no, he's going in, and you can see the rest of the team like, oh, God, and they just try and fix it, and then it works. It's like, yep. And everyone's like, oh, my God, Bumper's amazing. It's like, what? He is, if you put him on any other team, I think it would be bad.
He'd feed his brains out. It would work.
Anyway, guys, that's been a pretty detailed video there on the players to look out for in each team in the playoffs phase. Now, remember, the playoffs are actually running right now, and some teams have lost, but that doesn't mean they're completely out of it because it's the double elimination, which means they're going to drop down, and then they get to play again, so they can come back, and it's fine. Just don't lose twice, basically. Actually, who's your favourite player, Josh? Give me a favourite player.
Oh, Jesus.
Just give it me. Favourite player out of the whole league.
Like, just gut shot? It's going to be like a really weird choice. It's going to be Kareev, the Valiant.
Ooh.
I really like his Ana play. He's incredible on the Ana. I love him so much, and I love specking Kareev. So yeah, I'm gonna say Kareev.
Mine's
That's my
Gesture.
hipster pick.
There you
Gesture's
go.
a pretty good pick.
He's a
But
lad.
yeah, tell us yours in the comments. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, follow Sty on Twitter at Stylosa, follow me on Twitter at @1_amongst_many, and that's
like the video if you like
it.
Yes. All right, guys. Catch you on the next one. Doodaloo.
Bye.